Go. All right, we are starting this. I am here with my boy. I'm G. He's J. We are here to do this thing on the YouTubes. So therefore, you get to know our thoughts, our feelings, all things concerning gaming, but mostly PlayStation is what we're going to dive into. There's been so many events that now is pretty much the perfect time to jump into this.
No, I think that's a good point. So many things happening right now. We're hitting that point of the year where games are starting to roll out. News is coming out, so it's perfect time to start.
Very, very much perfect time. I mean, with the acquisitions of, currently now, for us, y'all, I can't even tell when, that Activision just got knocked out by Microsoft. They're just like, we're going to take you under our wing, and now they're saying that with Activision, those titles will not be exclusive to... There'll be several not exclusive to Microsoft. They plan on having some onto PlayStation as well, PC, if you will. They don't want to really hog it. They want all gamers to game. And that's fine, but, will we see Game Pass on the PlayStation? And can they really get that system going so fluently that it is on the Xbox onto the PlayStation? Because PlayStation has their own little IU? Is that the word? Integrated system. How they have the integrated system.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the word. but you have to make that work on a PlayStation 5. You have to make that work on a PlayStation 4. And then, with PlayStation Now being on PC as well, will that affect that? I know that Game Pass is on PC. PlayStation Now is on there. Is Sony just going to play a game and be like, yeah, you can put your Game Pass on here? I don't know what they want to do. I know what they should do. I mean, they should come up with their own mindset of they should, yes, do the Game Pass, but also come up with their own, like, hey, remember the games that you used to play of yesteryear, your Jack and Daxter, your original Crash Bandicoot and all pixelated madness that it was. Give us multiple, even the classic Spiderman, 2000, just put that on there as well. Yes. Just dig back deep into
Spiderman 2 from way back when.
Right.
Yes.
You kind of have, you're Sony, so it's not like you can't do this. And it's not like it's lost properties. You're like, oh, we can't get that. Like, yeah, you can. You got monies. So I really want the best for all gamers, really. I don't want it to just be a one-shot park, and I think that before, I know myself, I was just so stagnant. Like, oh, it has to be this, has to be this, has to be this, and then I realized that so many games, you become more broad and welcoming to different genres of gaming. I know there was a time I just never played a first-person shooter, and then the wonderful Resistance came out on the PlayStation 3. Holy jeez. I never experienced an FPS I fell so in love with, and then Killzone got me. Because the first Killzone was on PlayStation 2, and there was no jump button.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that got left by the wayside. And then Killzone 2 came out, and I loved that aspect of where the Hellgast, you could be hiding, and they're just like, where you at? And you're like,
I ain't here.
And then they're like, there you are. And just those red, glowy, beady eyes will be the last thing you see before he knocks you out. And now we have Horizon Forbidden West coming out, which is going to be a fantastic game, and I can't wait to stream that. But for them...
Just over a week.
Yeah, over a week. Next Friday.
It is, yeah.
Next Friday. It's insane. We waited so long for these just AAA games to start coming out, and I feel that Guerrilla Games has harnessed a lot of what the Hellgast from Killzone 2, Killzone 3, I really won't say Shadowfall because I don't consider that a game. I think that's just the entry level into the PlayStation 4 family. To grab that Hellgast enemy mindset and slap that into Horizon, because they didn't really have it in Zero Dawn, which makes sense because you're trying to get your customer base, your your players to understand this whole world of Aloy and this dystopian world that's been taken over, and there's just a lot with what happened.
A world so far in the future that it's also like so far back in the past. They got so advanced they reverted.
So to get people to sink their teeth and be like really happy with that game is fantastic, and to know that Aloy is such a strong character, and then know that there are flaws in that game. Like, the combat is very flawed. Bow and arrow is fantastic. I mean, that was kind of the season of bow and arrows. You had your Horizon Zero Dawn, you had Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tomb Raider as well, Lara Croft, the list goes on and on. So for now, with Forbidden West next week, for them to actually focus hard on the grappling, on the attacking, the terrain, just everything in general to make it worthwhile. I'm really excited for that one. But yeah, I'm really
and visually it's just very stunning from the stuff we've seen.
PlayStation 5, of course.
Of course. But especially when they released, when they did that state of play and it was like the 45 minutes of gameplay or whatever, watching that on the computer was like, when I was at work watching it on the computer, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I went home and pulled it up on my PlayStation, and I'm sure it's going to look even better when it actually comes out. But watching just that clip on my PS5, and all these colors are just like smacking me in the face, and I can't even really take it in. I'm like, this is great. Oh my gosh. Oh, just so much visually there that's enough to draw you in, and then adding in all the other elements they're going to throw in. New elements as well as things from the previous title as well.
And with you saying just watching it on your PlayStation 5, I know that I had my controller in my hand, so of course I watch it on my TV through the PlayStation, which you really couldn't do that in years past. But to be able to watch a gameplay and then have the controller in your hand and like, what if I just hit the start button? It feels like so gratifying, like I'm pre-playing the game. Kind of like a demo release you'd have like back in the day with the magazines. You'd have a demo of a game and you get to really enjoy it. Or when they actually release demos on the store and you can actually play it. That type of thing. But I mean, hey, I'd rather have the game come out quicker than just play a demo and then know that it would never come out and just be like, and they're like, oh, we canceled it. Didn't fill its quota. So I really excited for that one. But of course, currently, Sifu is the game that is on the docket. There was a bit of a conundrum that has happened on the interwebs. I'm not hurt because I believe in greatness, and I believe that when something is has taken its time, it's going to come out at the correct time. And although I had pre-ordered it, if you pre-ordered it through PlayStation and you have PlayStation Plus, you get like a $5 discount. So I was like, okay. And then I was able to get the PlayStation 5 and PS4 version, along with getting it a couple of days early. Back then, it was supposed to come out the 21st.
Yeah.
After Horizon, and then last month they were just like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and put it at the beginning of the month."
They were like, "Oh, Elden Ring and Horizon come out. let's bump that out."
And that was one of the games that captivated me. Sifu captivated me when I seen it a part of the PlayStation Direct, I guess you would call it, State of Play, when they did that September State of Play talking about the games for PlayStation 5 to lead up to the PlayStation 5, the price, the date, when it's available to pre-order. Some people were smart enough to realize, hey, if they're announcing it, if they're giving a price, if they're giving a date, you need to be at a store or online to pre-order it. That's just common sense, because people would have told you that summer. I know people in particular that speak about it in the summer, like, hey, when all these things line up, when the stars align, this is when you pre-order it. You stand at the door of the store and say, is it in your system? Is it in your system? So when they showed Sifu I was so enamored because it reminded me of the classic Nintendo game Kung Fu, where you just had this Kung Fu guy that would go and just take out dudes in purple gis with either punches, low kicks, high kicks, what have you. It started there. Then the movie The Raid as well, which is just an awesome action-packed fighting game. Dude just fighting in this tower with just a bunch of enemies, just so on, so on, so on, so on. And then Ip Man as well, which is another great movie to have a guy just doing that. I really, really was like, I need to play that game. And I'm not one that cares about high fidelity graphics or even low res graphics. As long as the gameplay feels good, then I'm going to dive into it and I'm going to give you a chance.
The graphics are a plus.
The graphics are just great. I'll take that because, at the time, before the PlayStation 5, not everybody had like really high def, like phenomenal TV to really showcase. I mean, if you did, congratulations, good for you. But I know myself, I was okay. I was sitting on a 43, so it was okay with the PS3 at the time. PlayStation 4 Pro, that's what it was. PlayStation 4 Pro. It was okay. I mean, I just finished Spiderman 2019. So yeah, finished with Spider-Man. A couple other things came out. Already dusted off God of War and Detroit Become Human. So it was kind of just that lull. And saving up the ducats, getting ready for whenever the PS5 came out. And so for them to talk about that, them to talk about Hogwarts, I can't remember everything else that was on that showcase. Oh, they showed Final Fantasy 16 as well. I really wanted to rewatch that showcase again because just that feeling alone. I was in my car and it was just beating down rain. It was 4 o'clock and I was in a parking spot and I was just sitting there in the Walmart parking lot while the rain was beating. And because I was in the car, it had that wonderful acoustics where you could hear everything in the car instead of just watching on your phone. And of course, you can get hyped by yourself as to where it's raining, so people aren't going to be looking at you like, what are you doing? Like, why are you going crazy? So I'm in my car and nobody's really looking, so I'm just getting hyped, seeing all this stuff. And yeah, when they announced that price and that date, I flew to the store to make sure I could get that pre-order. But Sifu, nonetheless, as a joyous time that was, there are times where it's not joyous playing this game. It is a very unforgiving game.
Yes.
But it's just like school. It's like you may have passed 3rd grade. Here's 4th grade. You may have learned something. Even if you were goofing around and doing recess and just having a fun old time and trading pudding packs, teachers throwing down, poof, here you go. It's pop quiz time. You're like, for what? Summer reading. I didn't read the book. I was just having fun. So, for those that don't know, what you should definitely watch the stream. Sifu, relatively, it's a spoiler country right here. Just go ahead and put it out there.
But no, for 3 days. They had time.
You had time to watch. You had time to see. Sifu, you start off, and I love this aspect because I'm very, very strategically watching as things unfold because I knew it was a story, but you weren't sure exactly what story it was going to tell. And for you to play as this dude in a black gi, long black hair, and just looks very macho, and you're seeing someone run over the rooftop, and you're like, all right, what do I need to do? All right, I guess I have to go in here. All right, boom, I break down the door. That should have been clue number 1. Really isn't. Because you're just like, all right, cool. So you go through, and you may fight, a person here or there. But most of the students in this dojo are pretty much just knocked out.
Yep.
And you're looking at your squad, and you're like, hey, where you at? And they're like, over there. And you're like, cool. Should have been clue number 2. But it's not. So you're going through, and you just straight up get to the main guy, this old guy. You already see your squad, 4 other teammates, your team rocketers, if you will. And you are challenging the Sifu, which is the master, the main head of the class. And you're challenging him to take him out and let him know that his old style is not what the new style is. You don't need your gang with you to beat him up. But you beat him up, and it's just like, all right, cool. Because I thought it was going to flip to where you're like, all right, I need to be the Sifu old guy. Nah, they just tap done. So I was like, all right, how is this going to play out? And then homeboy, because you knock out old man, and he's just like Peter Griffin, just rolled up on the side. He's done. It snaps to the little cupboard of a wardrobe, and you see just a kid peeking through, seeing all of this. And what was so cool is to have it to where you could be a boy or you could be a girl. I like how they just gave you that. They didn't announce any of that in any of the trailers at all, right, which was a nice, pleasant surprise. So it lets you decide whomst you want to be. You get out of the cupboard as whomever you are choosing. And then Mr. Jaguar dude with his machete. And I seen that machete. I was like,
hold up.
This is a little
We
boy.
were just fighting with fists. Right. And you just pulled out a machete.
Is it that serious? And for him to just not long live the king, Slice, Lion King. No, it's just like.
Just no questions asked.
Just your face, Slice.
My face.
In the splat of blood. And I was like, oh man, it sucks for that kid. It's like, oh, that was me. Oh. And your Komoyo beads, which reminds me of Black Panther, bring you back to life. After they're gone, of course, because if you get up, they're like, oh. They would stab and twist and let up. And then you train as much as you can, go through the training, which is a nice training montage showing the developers and whatnot that made the game. You're more concerned on trying to learn the moves as opposed to seeing the people who made it, which, I mean, fantastic job to them. But
and it's cool, too, because you're fighting, like, a silhouette phantom version of the antagonist that you're going for. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a little preview of what you're about to do. Kind of gauging, learning what you're doing, not really knowing too much because it's just like, hey, beat this person up.
Right, yeah. You may need to know this in the next round, but just go ahead and beat this person up. We're going to show you a throw maneuver, but you don't have to worry about that. Go ahead and beat that person up. And these are signs that you need to pay attention to, but you're so captivated in the story that it makes you want to evoke revenge because that's what your character wants to do. And then you have districts that you need to go to, but of course, just like any Super Mario, you don't go to level 7. You go to level 1, and then after you beat level 1, then you can progress to level 2. And to know that the moves that you do can change at any given time is really nice because you don't want to button mash. I mean, right. They call it a roguelite, but it's a roguelite in a sense because roguelikes make you rage and want to throw your controller, as to where this one, when you die, at least you begin right where you're at.
Yes.
You don't have to start back from campfire, like way back. Dark
You don't
Souls.
start back. The enemies don't respawn. Regain health.
Right. And they maintain whatever little bit of life they had when you first died. But also, they'll comment like, oh, you're back. So it's nice to have that dialogue that they remember, not like, where did you come from?
Who are you?
We beat you 5 years ago.
Where'd you go laying down? Who are you?
Like you would spawn over here and your dead corpse is right here when you're playing a game and your just corpses there and your guns are there and your loot's there and you're like, oh, I gotta go pick it up. So I thought it was really nice that they give you different maneuvers to use, whether it's the dodging, whether it's the parrying as well, which I don't feel like they do a lot of parrying because if somebody's coming at you with like a pipe or a bamboo stick or
parrying, I'm running.
A knife, right? I need to find something to defend myself. This needs to be a one-on-one fight. At least a fair fight, at least.
Right.
Make it a fair fight. But yeah, so I think it's a really good game. It's grueling punishment in a good way because you want to progress.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool to go tagging along on the whole death aspect, the thing that intrigued me about the game most is, number one, Kung Fu is just cool. Kung Fu style games are really fun. But for me, it was when they were showing the death thing, that when you come back older, depending on your death count. So, you die one time, you start at age 20, and then you die one time, you have one count on your death counter, so when you respawn, it adds that to your life. So now you're 21. And so that was really cool. And then as you keep dying more, because you will, as you keep dying more and that death counter goes up and you're getting older and older and older, it's cool to see your character, and it's just kind of progress through the ages. And it's not just, oh, your character's 63, but his physical appearance changes with that. So it's not just like, oh yeah, you have the body of a 63-year-old. It's like, no, like, you're 63. So it's really cool for that. And then, of course, that has its trade-offs. I think from what I've noticed, it's every decade. Like, every 10 years. So 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Once you hit that, once you hit every decade, one of the coins will break. Mm-hmm. And then...
That's disheartening.
Yes, so sad to see it. And then when you do reach that next decade of age, then you have the trade-off of your damage goes up, but your health goes down. Kind of implying that, you're more wiser, you have more experience on your belt, so you're able to do more damage, but your body's more frail.
You haven't had your physical.
Exactly. You didn't go get tested. You skipped your colonoscopy appointment. But on the flip side of that too, it's nice to know that the game's unforgiving, like you said, like completely. The game, like, it'll tell you your basic controls, like L1 box, square, light attack, triangle, heavy attack. It'll tell you that, but other than that, the game doesn't really tell you anything. It's just kind of like, here you are. So it's grueling, it's unforgiving, and then sometimes it's like, okay, you died, you're upset you died, because every objective of the game is to not die. But then it's nice because you come back, but then that becomes not so nice because then you forget about that. And so, all right, cool, I died once, whatever. I'm 21. Oh, now I died twice. Now I'm 23. And then all of a sudden you've died 5-6 times. And so now you go from 24 and now you're 30 and you die again. And next thing you know, within 2 quick deaths, you're 48. And then, of course, once you past 70, that last coin breaks. So that's your last life, whatever age you are. Typically it's mid-70s from what I've experienced. So it's kind of nice to have that, but then also you can't lose track of where you're at. Because you can retract some of that death counter, whether it being killing powerful or knocking out powerful enemies, the little shrine things you find. If you have enough XP, you can pick that and it resets your death counter. So that can be really nice too, because you could die 5 times. Now you're age 30, whatever, and you can reset that death counter real quick because you're going to keep dying. Like, there's just no doubt about it. So it's a really cool concept. One that personally I've never experienced in a game. I don't know if there's any other games like that. And then as well, tagging along to the beginning of the game, like you were talking about, that's something that was really cool for me too, that I've experienced, is you're getting the origin story of the main character from the antagonist point of view. Like, you're starting the story as the bad guy. You're setting things up. You're like, dude, I'm kicking all these people's butts, man. I'm untouchable. And then, wait a minute. All these people that I was just super OP with, I've got to go fight.
Right.
Hang on. So it was such a cool concept. I know personally, I had never heard of Slow Clap, I think is a developer. They made a game, I was reading it, called Absolver. I never played that, never heard of it personally. So it was really cool because it is a third-party game, but it doesn't really have that feel of a third-party game because they've put so much into it that they aren't just throwing something out there to make a quick buck. All the different elements of the game, all the different techniques you can learn, things like that. It's just been frustrating, as I've vocalized, but it is very fun because you do want it encourages going back and replaying things, because you can feel like you're doing pretty good against those first couple enemies. You're like, all right, whatever, I got this down. I'm blocking, I'm parrying, I'm dodging, whatever. And then all of a sudden you get to somebody else. Well, they start doing like sweep attacks, and so next thing you know, you get swept attack twice, and then they axe kick you on your head, and you're dead.
Done. Or hit you with a metal pipe.
Or hit you with a metal pipe, yeah, and you're done. So it's nice to know that you can go back. Like, it's unforgiving, but it encourages you to go back and learn, different techniques, different enemy patterns. You kind of learn to look out for what are these people going to do, because the attacks come in quick. Like, most time, like, I don't really have time to react. Like, I have time to block or something, but I'm just now getting to the point where I'm utilizing not the R2 dodge, but the, like, evade maneuver when you hold L1 and you move. Because before, I was just either trying to parry or I'm just spamming R2 and just skipping backwards. Like, please don't touch me. But, you start learning those different techniques, but they come so fast that half the time I'm like, I don't know whether to move right, left. Are you coming at my face? Are you going at my ankle? I don't know. And then I'm still getting knocked out, which is, again, frustrating. But you just keep going through it, and then you start learning different things. You're like, oh, okay, this is your pattern. I got that.
Right.
And then you can learn the patterns of the enemies you went to before. Now you know their patterns. And then the fun of that is I'm starting to get this stuff down. Well, here's an enemy I've never faced. Now I have a little bit more knowledge. Can I beat this person without dying now? That I've never encountered their patterns and things like that. It's just an interesting concept. I've had tons of fun with it so far, and a lot of frustration.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying with Slow Clap, this being kind of their first big, well-received game. We'll say that. Well-received game. I mean, you look at Housemarque. I mean, they came out with Returnal. I mean, they did a couple of other, like, kind of indie games, Super Stardust, things, minor in a sense. Really fun, pick them up, put them down type of games, but nothing as heavy eccentric and really push the mark of Sony saying, hey, this is our game. This is what we're contributing to before Ratchet and Clank, after your Miles Morales. We know that PS4 players have played the Spiderman. They're playing Call of Duty. There's many other games that are coming out in 2018 as well. But once that came out, Returnal was the game that everybody was like just talking about, because it was something that you didn't see before. It had that, like Sifu has. It has that death aspect where you die, but the premise of that is definitely dying to learn more about your memories, so therefore you can proceed and see more things. As to where Sifu, it's like you die, you're just like, I made a mistake, but I'm not learning anything. I just know I need to kick that person's butt in a different way, or grab a weapon and just beat them and bludgeon them. Just those maneuvers alone, when you do a combo and it's a final blow, I guess I would call it. Whether it's with a weapon or whether it's just a couple of quick punches to the chest and then a throat punch as well that causes them to lose breath, or if they're on the ground and you just ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, punch them like a drum, which is insane. Those are very gratifying. But it's been well received. Like I said, it came out Sunday, so it was delayed. Twitter was blowing up. Reddit was blowing up as well. I went to sleep. I was like, hey, this thing is supposed to launch at, I think it was 6 o'clock on Sunday. And it didn't. And I think it was supposed to be at 12 or something. And I was like, I don't even care. I'll just leave the PlayStation on, do what it do. And then I seen it and I was like, okay, this thing's at 0. It hasn't switched over to install. It didn't pre-install as well. Whatever, cool. I'm going to take a nap. When Twitter and Reddit are ready to say it's on. Woke up at 4 something, and Twitter was just like, hey, you can download the game now. Hey, I'm playing the game. I was like, cool. And it was very gratifying. And then I believe, I haven't checked it, but at that time, but for those that had the deluxe, they were able to play it on Sunday. But I think Sony also had the Switch for those that had it for Tuesday. Just like, here, you just go ahead.
Sorry, just
go ahead. Hey, play it early. Everybody wins. And it's a game to where either you can play it or you won't play it. Either you can play it, you'll watch somebody play it, or you won't play it. There's just only 3 categories, and to be a part of the ones to play it and to know the controls on how it feels instead of somebody like Mortal Kombat telling you, oh, press the kick button, no, I'm doing fatality. It's just like, I'm kind of playing it my way. It wants you to learn a different technique of what you're used to playing in a action adventure fighting game. That's to where most people just dive in and just ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. It's more be reserved, and even one battle when you're fighting against a kickboxer dude on the 2nd level, you'll say you have your options of what to say, but if you were more reserved, he'll hold his hands behind his back, more in like a come at me type of bro type of aspect. And I think that's good because now you're trying to choreograph that dude's maneuvers and then use his momentum against him. Therefore, you can take him out quickly and proceed to, hopefully, the boss, which it seemed like there were like 3 bosses on that.
Yeah. Sometimes the best offense is defense.
Yeah, and sometimes the best offense is a gun.
Yeah, true.
Poof. Thanks for playing. Thankfully, there are no guns in this game because your health.
At least yet.
You wouldn't be able to revive. There's no reviving.
All your coins are broke. Start over.
Game over.
Another thing frustrating too with dying is part of me likes the way you unlock moves, but then it's also frustrating with that permanent unlock thing because, for those of you who don't know, it's each time you go through is like it's a specific run. So when you die, like that run's over and you start over, so you can unlock moves using your XP to unlock different moves or different what they call them, the focus meters, where you can do different attacks that kind of do a little bit more damage. You can learn those things, but you have to buy them 5 times to permanently unlock it. And then if you don't permanently unlock it, when you die, you lose it. And you got to do it again. So that can be kind of frustrating. I've just kind of started going through and focusing on one at a time. Because before I was just like, oh, that one sounds cool. Oh, that one sounds cool. That one's nice. And then I die and I'm like, oh.
I have nothing
I
to
just
show
spent,
for it.
8,000 XP in total. And now I don't have
nothing
anything
to show for it.
Yeah.
And that's the key of talking through this is knowing that you need to focus on one. Find out which one you really like. Try not to find the cheapest one because some of the more expensive ones are really cool. But once you have those in your repertoire, you can go back into that level again, have that in your arsenal. Whether it's a move that uses weapons, a move that uses kicks, or just learning how to dodge, catch something that's getting thrown at you is very, very, very gratifying because somebody will be quick to throw
a glass bottle
at your face or back in your head.
Trying to fight somebody, they're just like.
But that's the beautiful thing about this game is you need to know your peripherals as well. You need to know you need to know your surroundings, but also you don't need to be so blinded in just one enemy. You need to be prepared that
can't have that tunnel vision.
Yeah, because somebody's going to come at you from behind, but you do have the way to stun everybody, which is hit one person, then kind of hit the other person to kind of stagger them. And it's interesting, the staggering system of when you can stagger someone else and they just start to stumble like a clown, like, oh, boop, 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 boop. And you're like, all right, I'm going to take this person out real quick. Or it happens to you.
Yes.
But you have that ability with your XP to buy a maneuver to where if you do stumble, you can quickly regain your focus as well, and be aware of your surroundings and then get back into the fight. But there are weapons like those pipes and those bats that will just unstumble.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you have. Just, no.
You start turning red and you're like, oh no. And it's just that either an axe kick or just a weapon that'll just take you out.
Mm-hmm. And then what's nice too is, talking about like specific runs, when I got to the 2nd level, which I still have not beat. I'm going to try tonight. But when I got to the 2nd level, just from playing the 1st level through, I think I was aged maybe late 30s, early 40s, something like that. Got to the 2nd level, and that's what you start your age as when you get to the next level, because it's that single run. So in that particular level, you can die faster because you're already aged so far. The one thing I found one thing I didn't find it out. I was reading about it and I found a spot about it. That's really nice and helpful is along with how the game encourages you to go back, not only just to learn stuff, to kind of correct your mistakes or learn different techniques, but also because there's unlockables you can get or items you can get in later levels that then you can go back to earlier levels
to
and
unlock things,
get to a new area or whatever. But one thing I found out that was nice is you can go back to the other levels. Like I said, I was level 38, maybe 40 something for the second level, the club. Well, I went back to the squats, I think is what it's called. I went back to that, just trying. I was just really trying to do it to kind of just get my techniques down. But when you beat that level again, I beat it at age 26. So then when I went back to the clubs, it'll put you at that age, which that can help because now you have a little bit more wiggle room in case you do mess up because you are meeting new enemy types with different moves that you aren't used to yet. And that's what kind of has helped me get further in level 2 is, yes, I'm still dying, but because I went back, did better because I knew more of what I was doing, I've got more wiggle room here.
Oh yeah,
So.
By far. Really, really impressed with the game. Just, I want more. I did see what happens after the club, which is level 3, so it makes me want to do more. Just the not dodging out of the way, but more maneuvering yourself.
Yeah,
but yeah, to be able to do that and learn to hone into their attacks and then wait for their rhythm to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to take them out like that.
Because then it also, if you do evade it at the right time, it'll slow down for like a brief second or two, which really lets you get in there and just kind of throw something crazy around and either do a lot of damage to their health or a lot of structural damage to then be able to do a takedown or do whatever. And the takedowns are vital too because that's the only way to recover health in the game. And then of course you can get those jade shrines, and which they can be tough because you only get to pick one thing and there's 9 in total. And so it's really tough because it's like, well, what do I want? You know, I kind of want this. Do I want that?
But you also have to be at the same age range because if you have maxed out the certain age of the 20, 30, 40, 60, whatever, if you've gotten to a higher age range, you won't be able to get that.
Right, like the weapon durability, to where you can upgrade it to make your weapons more durable. But if you get older than 25, that's where it caps off. So if you're 26, you can't get that anymore. I mean, if you had purchased one and then want to get a second one, you'll still have your... Because you can do each one 3 times, I think. So you can still keep that first one, but you can no longer upgrade that.
But if you've already, maxed that out, they say permanent unlocked. If you've purchased that 3 times previously at 3 different jade shrines, and that's in your repertoire.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's nice that it stays there. So, like you said, it makes you want to go back to that first level.
Yeah.
In a sense, not to really cheat, but to learn and to grow and to be more powerful so that when you take out these people that seem like it's boss number 7 and you're only on the club, which is episode 2, which is like, oh my goodness.
And for me, that guy is... when you drop into this fight pit and there's one big dude and 3 other guys and you beat all them and then you go through and the next guy is that kung fu martial arts guy. I hate that guy. Can't stand him. I never know what to do. His attacks are always so fast. I'm trying to dodge him. I can't. He blocks everything I throw at him. So I mean, like you said, it's not really being cheap because you're going back to learn those things. You're just like, okay, well, I cannot get past this because there's no difficulty setting, so you're not like, whatever, I can't get past this, let me put it on easy.
Right.
It's, I cannot get past this, let me go get better. And then I'll come back.
Right.
Like what dude says, what your character says on the first boss before he's like, I prepared 8 long years.
Oh
so
my God.
For me, it's like I'm getting my butt kicked by that guy. It's like, hang on a second. I'll be back in like 3 game time hour, real life hours. Let me go level up real fast. And
I'll be back.
I'll be back. You just stay right there. Don't move.
Stay on that throne. Stay on the throne. Right. Let that dude worship you. I will be right back after these important messages. Yeah. I was I found out with that capoeira kickboxer guy having a weapon, especially that metal pipe, is easier to take him out. And I've noticed that the lady up top, when you do that aisle of trials, that aisle of trials, hallway of trials, I guess you want to call it, when everybody comes out those doors and you take them out, and if you just say, hey, I'm looking for Sean, or you're too corrupt, I always go up there and quickly try to hit her with a weapon as quick as possible, because that's going to start the fight, because she's trying to talk and I'm trying to like get more XP. She'll do her moves and everything, but you can easily knock some people off a tall edge, and if they hit the floor, like, they're done. They're done. There's no like, because I mean, if your guy falls off a tall edge, like, he's like, okay, whatever, let me go back up there. So that's a nice way. Even when you go up into different rooms and somebody has their back and you just hit them, it's an easy way to TKO them real quick.
Yeah, because there's not like an actual stealth tactic in the game, or not tactic, like control or whatever. But if you can get behind someone real quick, either pick up a bottle and hit them in the head, or if you can get up behind them fast enough and punch them, you can do an immediate knockout, which I find myself doing a lot, because A, clears the room faster, and B, most times I'm low on health, so it's like, let me get a quick little boom, okay, I've got health back. But going back to the girl you're talking about, I don't fight her. You can go past her.
I know you can.
Yeah, I don't. I did one time. The first time I walked up and she just kind of stood there. I was like, what happens if I press square? So I pressed square and like palmed her in the face, and then she just turned around and was like, and then I'm dead and I'm like 68 years old. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. So I just go past her every time. Like, whatever.
I get her for XP, and I think it gives you a life.
Same thing. Another thing. There's a lot of things that we've already touched on this, but there's a lot of things the game does not tell you. And not that it's necessarily just trying to be like they didn't think about trying to tell you how to play the game, but a lot of the point of the game is to just figure things out.
Yeah.
And then that's what makes you better at the game. The game does not hold your hand.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, here's your basic controls, go have fun. But another thing I found out is if you're like fighting people, and it's best to do it holding L1, so just in case someone comes in, you can block. But if you hold L1, and like, you know how like when you talk to somebody, it brings up like the three things. When you're not in conversation, so if you just have like 5 people around you, and you're knocking them out, and it'll pop up and it'll say like, oh, you're at a 2-time multiplier. Here's your level score. If you press the right D-pad, you'll do a taunt.
Oh.
And it instantly bumps up your multiplier.
Oh.
So like you literally, and it does it every time. So you can taunt, and it'll take you from 2 to 3. Do it again, 3 to 4. So you can just keep, and that's why I said you want to hold L1. So in case while you're doing it, someone's like, while you're talking. But you can do that, so it'll bump up that multiplier, and you can get more score level. It doesn't affect your XP,
right?
But it affects your score level, which then you can use
for the J shrines.
Exactly. Yeah. So it helps you get stuff faster. So it's thing the game does not tell you. I was just lucky enough to.
Because I noticed with Taekwondo, kickboxer, capoeira guy, I was doing a lot of evading by holding down the L1 and just kind of moving around, and I would just see the multiplier just go up and go up because I'm moving out of the way of all of his stuff, and then and then just sit back and wait for him to go for more moves, and then block, move, and then take him out. So yeah, very, very wonderful tidbit of information, which is nice. I mean, even the secret areas to find the items that are just hidden there are nice. I mean, finding the key card to go into different rooms as well, finding the keys to go into hidden pantries. Seeing that, just the flats alone, knowing that there's 2 routes to go, you could run across the building and go that way, or you could just go through some doors as well in the lower platform. So it gives you 2 different ways to play, and it kind of makes you want to go back. And
Which that one's useful, because that's what I started doing. When you open up those doors, you skip like 80% of the level. And that one's useful for if you're trying to get your age lower, because obviously you're going to miss out on a lot more XP. I think you only come across maybe 1 shrine, as opposed to the other way. If you go through the full level, I think you come across 3. You only come across... Well, technically you come across 2, because there's one that's like right before the final boss. But you only come across 1 extra one as opposed to 2. But you go through the level faster, so now you have less risk of dying, so now you can stay younger, put that into your next level, boom, now you're lower to do that. Speaking of the second level, when I was watching your stream, you didn't do it, but, well, at least when I was watching it, because I was also trying to play it and getting heated.
Lot going on.
But, you go through, after you get the key card from Homeboy.
Correct.
And then you go through that door, and there's all the people training. Of course, there's that Jade statue. Did you go through the other door?
Is it the... Not the metal... No.
So right when you get the key card, you go through the door, and then there's a door that has like a purple light shining on it. And that's the one you go through to get to the trials.
Okay.
There's another door, and if you go through that, it takes you through another level. Now, there's not exactly... From what I saw... There's not really, like, any cool things to find.
Right.
Like, as far as collectibles, there's another area that you get to, but it doesn't have the examine thing, or you don't take anything. But there's another level. If you remember, when you kind of first start the club level, you go through, and that guy's like, hey, why are you here? And then you're just like, where's Sean? And he's like, hey, guys. And you beat those 2 guys, and you walk through the door.
Oh, yeah, see, I didn't even give them a chance.
Oh, I don't either. I just run and start punching them.
No, before they even say, because I see him and I turn. Because I'm like, I don't have time to deal with the bartender. I'm trying to go through.
That's what I started doing.
They're there,
now.
and...
Yep. Because if you don't get them fast enough, there's a bat around the corner. One of them will go grab that bat.
Yeah.
And then you're just like...
Yeah.
Hi.
I found that bat. And it's funny because you just see... NPs just everywhere.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if they're shining up a wine glass or if they're playing the hottest tunes in the DJ booth. Like, you're a body. You're in my way.
Or like the guys on the outside when you start blowing, like, they're not letting anybody in, don't worry about it. I didn't know they were like nice guys, right. So I spawned in and I was just...
Took me multiple times to realize I didn't have to hit them. Because you think they're gonna...
I'm seeing the level before, everybody was trying to kill me.
Right.
So this one, I'm like, I don't care who you are. Here's an elbow, here's a knee. It doesn't matter. You're getting a roundhouse, you're getting a roundhouse.
It is Cobra Kai.
You're catching a throw punch.
Strike hard. Strike first.
Yeah.
No mercy.
But what you go through,
yeah.
Either talk or don't talk to the bartender. Fight those 2 guys. And... You walk through, and there's like the little lounge area with the dance floor. And you clear all those people out, and then you fight that girl that does the sweep and the axe kick. When she hops off the thing, you see the guy playing the DJ with the like LED mask.
Yeah.
Fast forward, if you go through that other door, you fight other people, then you get that guy's up there.
Yeah.
And you can fight that guy.
Yeah.
If you go through that other door, as opposed to just going through...
But you don't have to fight him, though.
No, you don't have to. I don't. I did it the first time I got past the martial arts dude. I was like, which door do I want to go through? I was like, obviously one of these doors is going to take me to where I need to go. One of these doors is going to take me somewhere new. And luckily I guessed right, because I was like, well, this door is lit up and has a bunch of fists and stuff around it. I'm like, that's probably the fight, so let me not go that way. And I went through there. I have not gone back. I have not gone back. Especially because I went through there, and then I got to the inn. I think I died like 2 or 3 times, and then I got to the inn, and I'm like, I didn't unlock anything.
Nothing.
There's not a jade shrine up there. I was like, there wasn't an item for me to pick up. Nothing. All I got to do is get to the sound guy's like room. I'm like,
which has nothing in there.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm not going here again.
Nice view, and it's a big club. It is a big club when you actually look and think about it.
And there's still more that we can't get to because there's that door with the keypad, not the card swipe.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, there's so much with future levels to go back to that, which is going to be gratifying to go back to that level compared to what's coming out. What's coming up. And the funny thing is, there's only 5 levels. That's weird, but...
Which you think is going to be really short, and then you start playing and you're like, I've played level 1 like 8 times, not because I'm bored, because I'm like, let me get more stuff.
But you have to think, like, back in the day, I'm pretty sure people were like that with the first Mario game. They were just like, this freaking Goomba keeps killing me. Oh, I gotta hit this block? This glowy thing? Oh, it brings out a mushroom? Cool. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's a great game. If they're smart enough, they'll give DLC, which is definitely what needs to happen.
I read a thing today where the head of the developer said that they're already... They didn't give any details on what, but they've already said they've got DLC in mind, ready to go.
All they have to do is just, like Fortnite, partner up with Cobra Kai. You can easily... Like, that speaks for itself right there. You can have that. And just take him onto different journeys as well. Because, I mean, it's at the right time that people are still into it before everyone starts spitting their way. Because you want to put the DLC to come out probably summertime, and so people can remember it, just like Ghost
Bring
did.
people back to the game.
Bring people back to the game, just like how Ghost Tsushima did. They're just like, hey, we appreciate you guys for enjoying the game and everything, and there's a lot that's been happening. You know, you guys did play Last of Us Part 2, but... Here's a different island.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Here's more stories.
Tell me more. Speaking of Ghost, did you know about the extra outfit that they added?
The Horizon one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty
nice.
nice.
I saw a picture of that yesterday.
Paying homage to Forbidden West. Because I've got all the outfits with your Shadow Colossus,
Bloodborne.
Ico, Bloodborne, God of War. So it's, you already got Sly Cooper from the get-go because it's Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
So I think that's nice that they're showing love to that. I feel like I've done everything. I'm going back through it again on New Game Plus, but I feel so powerful, and I'm just like, I really don't want to do this. Just let me just transport to the main guy and just stab him. That's all I do. But I mean, you've got Ghost that has already come out and shown its love. I don't even know if I'll even dive into Death Stranding. I bought the director's cut for that as well. It's only $10. I already had the game. I was like, I'll give y'all $10 to show my support. But with Horizon, like I've got that ready for install. And I want to see how it works. If the trophy system. Trophy system's important. Like, can I transfer my stuff over from the PS5 over to PS4 and vice versa? Because the same thing happened with the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves, which I haven't streamed. No, I did stream that. Yeah, I haven't streamed the last 4 chapters, I believe. Because I think I'm really close to the end. Because I know there's 22 chapters, but I'm almost at the end. So off stream, imported my PS4 save, and they were like, you don't have anything. I was like, hold on. PlayStation Plus memory bank, let's go into that. Brought that over, made sure I put on a separate file and save over what I have, and it just popped up the last portion of Uncharted 4, and it just boom 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 boom, all those trophies. Didn't get the platinum on the PS4 one, but that's another day. And then Lost Legacy, I haven't even started it on the PS5, but brought that save over, and it showed the ending of that, and just the graphics and just both of those games alone have been really, really gratifying. Uncharted 4 has been really fun with the PS5 DualSense controller. They've added nice features to it as well, but there's things that they could add a little bit more to give it that DualSense love and feel that they did with Ratchet, what they did with Ghost. I feel like they were on a crunch time, so they couldn't put too much into it. I don't think it had any type of like microphone features where Astrobot or Ratchet and Clank. Because I feel like they're trying to really use the DualSense controller, but they're not really utilizing the DualSense controller. I mean, with Sifu, I mean, to have the beat in the club.
Yes, when you're going through
yes.
the little trial area, because you beat the first area when you fight all the people with those doors, and then you go through that hallway, and the lights will light up, and as you do, you feel the controller like light and move with it. Oh, so cool.
And I mean, for those that don't have this controller, I mean, just the controller alone is a godsend, because it's taking away from not doing DualShock 1, DualShock 2, DualShock 3, DualShock 4, giving its own image and being DualSense, and it's not just a vibration or Nintendo 64, rumble pack. It's a current that goes through the controller. It's been the best way I can describe it. So when you're playing a game, it just puts you in that. When raindrops are hitting, you can like feel it like hitting the controller at certain different points. Unlike a rumble, just like tun 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 tun, and you're like, okay.
Or like with Astrobot, you can feel different textures of what you're running across. When you run across glass, it has a more kind of just solid little tap, and if you run through sand, it feels more
granular.
Yeah, exactly. And then same thing if you run through grass, it's like you can feel that texture kind of run through
the blades going through,
your
blades
hands.
of grass going through. Yeah, because I mean, that's one thing that the PlayStation 5, I mean, the Xbox Series X has it as well, but more the PS5 in general. When you're looking at somebody like, for instance, Drake, and you see his shirt coming out of the water or the mud that's still on there, and then you see like his leather vest that he's got his holster in as well for his gun, like the texture of the way that leather looks, it looks like leather, it looks like that cowhide. The guns as well, just that metal shine on it as well is pretty cool. So it's just, I've been highly impressed with the PS5. I mean, there have been games that have been okay. There have been games that tried to upscale themselves to the PS5, and they try. I think a lot of games that were on the PS4, they've just like totally enhanced, and I didn't even think they would. Like, even if you go to the store, even if you go to the PlayStation Store and you see a game and they're showing it, and then you click it on your PS5 in the store, like, it enhances the way the game looks, which is intense. It's just like, wow.
Well, I was mean, like, with Ghost of Tsushima, like enhance, like, not only does it have the haptic feedback, but then you've got the adaptive triggers. So, like, when you're drawing a bow and arrow, and you feel that resistance of pulling that string back, when you play the flute for the cats or whatever, and you have to move your controller and kind of stay in that pattern. Same thing with Spider-Man, both 2018 and Miles Morales. When you use the right trigger to shoot your web and then swing, you kind of feel that tension. Shoot and then grab when he grabs onto his web, and then when he starts swinging, you can almost kind of feel that haptic, giving you that feel of just how fast.
That momentum.
Yes, he's just zooming through the air. So I definitely think the DualSense in and of itself is a next-gen experience. Like, yes, when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, they were next-gen. Oh, okay, it was just the next generation of consoles. But then now, with the Series S and X and the PS5 and the way their controllers are, it really almost gives a new sense and feel.
Revitalization.
Exactly, of next gen.
Yeah. Because, I mean, PS4, I mean, they did something compared to DualShock 3. DualShock 3, you had, like you were saying with Ghost of Tsushima, you had the movement of the cats, music to play that. That was from the 6-axis from the PlayStation 3. But PlayStation 3 realized, oh, you guys want DualShock like you did with PS1 and PS2. We'll throw that in along with 6-axis. We want you to enjoy 6-axis. It's next level, and people are like, that's cool. I'm not going to be flying the game when I'm trying to punch somebody in the face. So then once the PlayStation 4 came with the touchpad, they incorporated that touchpad from the PlayStation Vita as well, incorporated both of those as well, which is really nice. I would probably say that the Vita came out first. I could be wrong. I want to say the Vita came out first and then the PlayStation 4. So therefore they added that, but that was really kind of where they stopped. They kind of rested on their laurels. They didn't really utilize because they were like, hey, we got the PlayStation VR coming out. We have this coming out. So they kind of didn't innovate the controller. So they went back to the drawing board and they were like, some people are upset because the controller just feels too small. People are buying, Astro C40, so they're just like, hey, I want to beef your controller. I want to, configure my controller as well. So once the DualSense came out, and you just tell people like, hey, this is next gen. This is gonna be awesome. And then when you put it in people's hands, they're like, oh wow, this is unreal.
Even without feeling the haptic feedbacks and stuff, just the more ergonomic feel that it has is so far advanced from the DualShock 4. It just has the nice. It just fits in your hand so well.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like a controller should.
Yes.
And it's nice that the peripherals, they're still available, but they're slowly coming out of stock. It's right there on the cusp. Right there on the cusp. Because now you can find the charging stations for the controllers. You can find the PlayStation camera. You can find the media remote. As to where, PlayStation 4, if you didn't pre-order that PlayStation 4 camera, if you didn't pre-order an extra controller, you were out of luck. Good luck with just enjoying your game and your system. And Christmas is around, the next month. Nobody's going to be playing with you, just taking turns just watching. So it's smart enough to have an extra controller at launch, because when it's Christmas time and somebody's watching you play and you actually have a 2-player game, you're like, here's another controller, let's play together. And it's like, wow, I do know what you're talking about. It does feel like this way, instead of like, oh, you need to play this, you need to try it. So that's the beautiful thing about Sackboy Big Adventure. It's just phenomenal game. My wife and I, we just adored A Little Big Planet. I give a shout out to my dude Hayden, that I went into. It was Electronics Boutique back then. It wasn't GameStop yet. Went in there and I was just like, hey, what's up? And he was like, oh, what's up? I was like, yeah, I want to pre-order A Little Big Planet. He's like, all right, cool. And then he told me about Uncharted 2. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, that'll be my homework assignment. I'll play Uncharted 2. I was like, I didn't think about it. I have the first one. It's like, oh, you got to play it. You got to be the first one to play the second one. And I was like, oh, and he talked about A Little Big Planet. I was like, I heard about it. I was going to pre-order. I guess it's cool. And once I got it, you had the pre-order bonus was your sack person, now they call it. You had a Kratos outfit, you had a Medusa outfit, and you had a Minotaur outfit. And that was just so cool to have that as a pre-order bonus. To have Kratos, some mean little sack person, going through and play his innocent game. But it was like a Mario feeling, because you could have two people playing this game simultaneously, and it didn't have that kiddie feel of difficulty, because there were things you had to think about. I don't think you should ever give a kid a game like that and say, here you go, have fun, because then be like, I don't know what to do. You got to move this box to get on top of this box to get over here. They'll just be like, oh, I'm just stuck in here, and unlike a Grand Theft Auto, which, you really shouldn't let a kid play, but it's your discretion. You parent how you want to parent. 9 times out of 10, kids want to play Grand Theft Auto because it's the only game where it's free roaming and you can get in a car and you can just drive, and that's what they want to do. They want to be in a real society and just do stuff. Now, yeah, you shouldn't be picking up hookers and shooting hookers and going to the hospital and just shooting it up. You shouldn't do any of that, by no means, by imagination. But Sackboy Big Adventure, if you're playing with them, it's such a great game, because you have iconic music that more is today pop music, unlike a Just Dance, where sometimes you'll have a couple of hit songs and then others are just so outdated, and you're just like, we could dance to that song.
Yeah.
I want to. Grandma's dancing to it. I don't want to dance. Grandma's TikTok. So Sackboy Big Adventure is such a good game because it tells a good story. And that's what Little Big Planet 3 was trying to do. Little Big Planet did not have a story at all. Little Big Planet 2 didn't either. And it took a year and a half for them to bring water physics into the game, which should have already been there. And then 3 tried to tell a story, but it was so convoluted. You're just like, there's 4 characters? What's going on? But Sackboy Big Adventure is like, hey, here's the story. Here's what's happening. Here's the villain. Go. And you're like, all right, cool. And then you just play. So that's just another... That was a fantastic Christmas game to play.
Absolutely. I didn't play it at Christmas when it came out. I picked it up a couple months back. Because, of course, it came out... it was the launch title for the 5. So, yeah. It came out, of course, November of 2020. I think I picked it up I think it was in June of 21. Just because I had been kind of wanting to play it. And then I watched you play it on your stream. And I played... I think it was Little Big Planet 3. Was it... Hang on. Which one was on the... Was Little Big Planet was only on the 4, wasn't it? Or was it on the 3?
Little Big Planet 1 was on the PS3, 2 was on the PS3, 3 was on the
4.
PS4.
Okay, so then it was either 1 or 2. I remember playing it because it was when PS3, when they had that weird thing with PlayStation Network where like their servers got hacked or whatever, and they were down for like 2 months or whatever. When they finally got them back up, they gave people a free game, and one of them was a Little Big Planet, so it's the only time I'd ever played it. I was just like, alright, cool, whatever. I don't remember which one it was that I played, but I couldn't really get into it. But then playing Sackboy Big Adventure was so much fun. It was a lot more fun to where, because the Little Big Planets, they are, of course, that platform style game, and Big Adventure had those elements, but was also kind of more 3D-ified. Mm-hmm. To where it was platform style, but you were looking, instead of looking from the side, you were looking down the same path that Sackboy is going. And the music was so much fun. A lot of times when you were playing the levels, like things are popping up at like when the music and stuff's hitting, and it was just so much fun. And then the Night Trials, I think was what they had it called. Mm-hmm. What it was called, where you had to like try to beat these time sets to get different not upgrades, but
you get more orbs,
yeah, that you could use to get your different outfits or whatever. But it was a lot of fun. Like it's a game that looks like it's for kids.
Yep.
But then you start playing it and you're like, this is so much fun. Like, and then
give me control.
And then like exactly, and then like you said, like it's not that kids can't play it, but it's not necessarily a game maybe geared for kids, because there are those moments where you have to know, I need to move this box here, or I need to pop this balloon so that this falls to where I can get to this. And there's a lot of times where I would like break a box or something, and then I'm like, why can't I get where I need to go? And then I'm like, oh wait, I shouldn't have broke that box.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I wish I'd got it on launch. Of course, I had gotten Miles Morales.
Yeah,
I was having fun with that. And then it came, of course, I bought the launch edition, so it came with the
Spiderman
2018 remastered. Yep. Absolutely. I was having fun with that. I was like, that's why I was like, yeah, Sackboy, it can wait. It can wait.
There was so much on my docket, because I pre-planned on how everything was going to be played, let alone how things were going to be streamed, because, that September time frame was Marvel Avengers. God rest its soul, I guess you would say.
Something like that.
I mean, it got me through something. I mean, I endured the story so I could say that I played it, but the word was endurance. But that's what kind of started the first stream and the last kind of stream that was on the PS4, to where everything else was on the PlayStation 5. I've done some on Switch and I think a couple on Xbox, but mostly putting everything on the PlayStation 5, and with Miles just streaming that and then having people see what it's like, because a lot of people didn't have a PS5 at that time, and to be a viewer to watch the physics of the game and to see the buildings as well as skyscrapers, and me as Miles running up it, and you can see the reflection of Miles
that ray
through
tracing.
that. Oh my goodness, yeah. And then just my favorite move, which is the double thwip, to bring you up, because that's one of my favorite moves that I did in 2018, and then put in Miles, and then the remaster of 2018, just because it's so quick and it causes him, whether it's Miles or Peter, to go faster, and then to go into the swing as well. That was just a catalyst. So Sackboy became, I guess, my secondary game, because Miles was the first, and it was just like, this is the reason why I bought a PS5. Sifu was coming out and I wanted it, but like Miles was there, because seeing that trailer, that was the other thing. That's what it was. That presentation, that state of play, we saw Miles.
Oh yes,
and they showed the bridge scene.
Oh my goodness, and that was so much fun.
I was like, y'all are showing gameplay. What are you doing? Stop it! Can we have it now?
because watching that scene is like, it's cool, but then when you play it, oof. And like when the bridge is breaking apart and you swing under it and fling yourself up and you're spamming like L1 R1 and you're trying to tie it together. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. And then when you're trying to hold the car up and you have to like press triangle and you just dive down and like break through the windshield and land her on the boat. It was. I had more fun with Miles. Both games were fantastic.
By far.
Obviously, I don't call Miles a DLC. Miles was really kind of...
I didn't cost a DLC.
No. Miles was really kind of just... and like we've talked about before, it was really a glimpse into next gen. Because then they didn't have it on launch, but shortly after, they did that update to where, of course, before you had to choose between ray tracing 30 FPS or 60 FPS, and you lose the ray tracing. And then they added in, hey, here's both, and which was even better. So that's really what Miles was kind of a glimpse into next gen. But I had so much more fun with Miles than I did 2018 with Peter. But Miles was just the movements he had. I love feeling that inexperience level. Yeah. Like just things that you don't really notice, like early in the game, when of course you're riding on a rhino and he blows up that power plant or whatever it was, and things you had seen Peter done in 2018's where he would jump over somebody when they're not looking, he'll thwip and grab their rifle and swing it back, hit him in the head, and he lands in a battle stance. And then in Miles, when that happens, Peter's like, hey, I'll take care of Rhino. You stop those guys. And so you see the guy get out with his rifle, and Miles flips it out, hits him in the head, and then when Miles goes to land, he kind of like rolls over and then gets back up. So, and then his swinging, even though it felt more fluid than Peter's, you also got that inexperience
amateurish.
Yeah. With the different ways, like sometimes when you would swing and you'd get really high and let go before you start swinging again, Miles would kind of be like, oh goodness. So and then you threw in they called it the Venom power. It was so much fun to be able to be swinging. And then of course with Peter, you could, press the L2, R2 and go onto like a handrail or a light post and press X at the right time, and you boost off of that. And of course being able to do that with Miles, but then also if you have it stored up, you can press L1 and triangle, and you just like dash through the air or boost yourself up even higher. Miles was just so much more fun. Both games were fantastic, but Miles was just such a cool character.
And we got to know Miles from 2018.
Yes.
I feel it's a disservice for a lot of people to try to jump into Miles because it seems like it's the cool thing. It seems like it's the hip and now, and I adore it, but everybody knows Spider-Man. A lot of people, I would say about 30% of people knew Miles before the entire world knew about Into the Spider-Verse, before the entire world knew about Spider-Man Miles Morales, the game. But to know literally, I guess you would say, his origins, Miles' origins, instead of Spider-Man, Peter Parker's origins. It was nice to kind of go through that and see him and know his dad, and then see the tragedy that happened, and then play this game, and then realize, oh no, this is about to happen to my mom. I'm not going to let this happen again. And then to go into trying to be Spider-Man, but be your own Spider-Man. I mean, technically the tagline is "Be Yourself," which is very iconic and something that everyone should live by. But to have the cloaking ability is so necessary to know that you could be like boom, 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 fighting people and like, oh shoot, I'm caught. I need to get away, and then just lean up against the wall and cloak. And they're like, where'd he go? It's like you can't see me.
And it was really nice too because, like you said, that's what I really enjoyed about Miles, other than like, all the fun stuff in the game. But it was really, I was one of those people. I had heard of Miles, but really only knew about him from Into the Spider-Verse. Like I knew who Miles was, but really my first taste of Miles was Into the Spider-Verse, which was fantastic. Can't wait for the second one. But it was nice to, yes, he was introduced as a character in 2018, but it was nice with this game because, like you said, it was his origin story as far as how he learned to be Spider-Man, as opposed to end credits of 2018. Oh, well, during the game, okay, we see he got bit by a spider. End credits, he shows Peter, hey, I've got these weird spider powers. And then instead of just showing that, and then 5 years later in 2023, when Spider-Man 2 comes out, no, cool, here's Peter and Miles. Which still would have been cool, but now it's nice to get that in between of, hey, before you play this game and wonder how Miles got so good and, really got control of his powers and got so experienced, here's this. Yeah. Learn how it started. Mm-hmm. What he had to go through. And it was nice, too, that it wasn't... Because, of course, the precipice in 2018 is, Peter had been Spider-Man for 8 years, which was nice, because we've all been through seeing Uncle Ben die. We didn't need it again. We didn't need it, but it was nice, too, because...
3 minutes of playtime.
It was nice because he's experienced, and, obviously the game teaches you mechanics, but you don't have to go through that awkward up and away web. You don't have to go through all that. Right. But with Spider-Man, of course, 2018, you had Scorpion, you had Mr. Negative, Electro, Vulture, Rhino, Kingpin, Doc Ock. Had all these things. And then with Miles, we're getting his origin story, and it's fresh faces, to where it's really his story. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the Tinker, turns out to be his best friend.
Prowler.
You have the Prowler, which turns out to be his uncle, which if you'd seen Into the Spider-Verse, or just know who Miles is, you knew that. But, you get to see all these things kind of as not a fresh start, but as that origin, and it's not just ripping things from the comic book and like, oh, Miles' first encounter while Peter was in Slovakia or wherever he was, is Doc Ock broke out of prison and Miles is going to go fight Doc Ock. It's like, no, this is a story tailored to Miles. And then on top of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it got even more localized because it was like Harlem's Spider-Man. Like, even though at the time he was New York's only Spider-Man because Peter's gone. But the whole thing was like all... What was really nice was, some of the side missions you're helping... I don't remember her name, but she gets like a food truck stolen from her. You gotta find that back. The old lady. She got locked in a trunk is what happened to her.
Oh, that.
And they took off. Yeah. You help with that. You help with the toy drive because I think they were giving it to Feast or something for the kids. And at the end of the game, even in the final battle, after you fall down from the sky after you blew up Finn, you see those people again. Mm-hmm. And you've helped them out. And now, of course, they see this is Miles. Yeah. And they're like, this guy lives in our neighborhood. Yeah. Like, at the beginning of the game, he helped me unload that couch off of the moving truck. Mm-hmm. Or one of them was the painter painting the mural of Spider-Man because he's like, leave room for the new guy. And so it really gave you that feeling of... It emphasized that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah. To where it was like, Peter's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, he's all over New York. And then Miles is like...
In our backyard,
here in Harlem. Right. And he saved his hometown, as to where Peter, of course, years later, but Peter is saving New York as a whole. Miles is like, they're trying to do this thing with this weird power stuff. It's going to wipe out Harlem. And so that's what was really cool, is you get that origin story. It really personalizes it, really makes you feel that connection with the people around you. Exactly. Because one thing with 2018, with Peter Spider-Man, was it was fun. Like, I really enjoyed the game, but a lot of the side quests were just go here and...
Mary Jane.
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of the side quests was like, just go here and stop this bank robbery. Go here and help Howard get his pigeons. Which, okay, the first time was cool. The next 3 times, I'm like, these things are annoying me.
Here's Screwball.
Yeah, here's Screwball, yeah. But then with Miles, going back to Miles, all the side quests were those people.
Mm-hmm.
You help Teo's Bodega, you get his cat back.
Yeah.
You help him get his cat, and you're helping these people that are your next door neighbors, but they don't know it's you. You know who they are. They don't know who you are. They're just being helped by Spider-Man. And it was just so cool to get that more raw, personalized story. And it also being an origin story, and you see the experience and the improvement. You see where he messes things up, because at the beginning, when they're transporting Rhino and it's about to break, and Miles is like, "Oh, I got it," and Peter's like, "Please don't," and then
messed up her palate. But like you were saying, Maria from Feast as well.
Yes.
To not make it completely like, all right, even though it's a Spider-Man, this is Miles Morales Spider-Man over here. Like, there's implementations of things from 2018 that connected to Spider-Man 2018, not making its own and distance itself from that. Like I said, Maria from Feast. You have Roxxon as well, to be incorporated, but showing a different hierarchy of Roxxon as well, because Silver Sable's doing her own thing with her Sable guards or whatever. So I like how they just introduced a lot of things as well, and it shows Miles' prominence in Feast as well, because he's well known, because Aunt May really didn't really consider him like second in charge, but gave him a lot of responsibility and believed in him, and because he got the chance as well to prove himself after Pops bit the dust, it was nice that he had something to go back on, to keep his mind off of, being in sorrow and guilt of losing, a loved one. And like I said, just having its own original story and having new villains, but having, and that's the sad thing, somebody so close to you living a double life, and you don't even know it, but you pick up on signs, and you're just like, no, trusted this, and just seeing how everything unveiled as well. I can think of her name as Tinker, I can't remember her name.
Finn.
But, yeah, Finn, yeah, to see how she just comes back at the most opportune time to be back in Miles, and Genki's life, and, well, Genki didn't really know her. But to know her backstory as well, instead of her just being the bad guy and be like, oh, we don't like you, but she was trying to do it because that's the only thing she knew. And when you're young, you'll go by reactions, you go by, you react to things, so you try to do things to make things work, to make it worthwhile, instead of methodically think like, okay, if I do this, will I go to jail? Probably shouldn't do this. Can I go to these people? You don't really get the cops though in this one though. You don't.
No.
You don't get what is it? Yuri.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then again, this is Harlem, so Pristink is not there, and it's nice to know that there are other Marvel characters in this whole entire, dare I say, Insomniac universe. So I'm really,
the Gameverse.
I mean that. But Marvel Avengers would be Gameverse as well.
No.
So if that did well, they could have incorporated that. If that did well, they could have incorporated that. But once they put Spider-Man and not the Insomniac Spider-Man, that you knew it was completely. They're like, yeah, you can't.
We don't know you. But what was also cool too, tagging along on the with Finn being new, in 2018, you're like, okay, I know Doc Ock. I don't feel bad for him for why he's Doc Ock. I knew it was coming.
He stabbed me.
He stabbed me. He knew who I was, and he stabbed me. You are a jerk. You don't feel. You have no reason to feel bad for Electro. No reason to feel bad for Vulture. Even though when you go in that little bunker thing. It's like, oh, Vulture has, cancer or whatever, and so he's doing this to extend his life. I don't care.
Right.
Or Electro had this problem. That's why I still don't care. Or then you find out Mr. Negative's backstory. You're like, sucks. Whatever. I just want to beat the crap out of you people. But then with Finn, it's almost kind of the flip side of that, because she's a new character, so you don't have that predisposition of, okay, I know why you're Doc Ock. I don't care. I just want to punch you in the mouth and lock you up in the raft.
Yes. Many times.
All I want to do.
Like God of War 3.
Let me just stay in a circle. Just can't even see the screen anymore. Don't care. But
5 minutes later.
Yeah. But with Finn, because also too, like with the Sinister Six or whatever from 2018, they actually kind of were bad. Like they totally predicted COVID-19, with the whole everybody's got to wear masks, quarantine, but they were like, we don't care who dies.
Right.
We're trying to take down Norman. I don't care who you are, who your family is. I don't care. Here's some devil's breath. Go home. But with Finn...
Go see the Lord.
Exactly. He's ready. But with Finn...
He wasn't ready.
With Finn, she's not really trying to harm people.
Sure.
You learn her backstory. Now, eventually she gets to the point where she doesn't care at any means necessary. She has to shut down Roxxon, but she's not trying to kill Simon Krieger, I think was his name. She's not really trying to... She'll hurt you if you're in your way, but she's not trying to, like... In the sense of, she doesn't care if she, like, hurts you because you're in her way, where the other guys were like, I don't care if you die.
I'm trying to indispose you.
Yeah, Finn's not trying to kill people, and then you get that backstory of, oh, her brother was working on what's making the new form, and it killed him, and then Simon Krieger and Roxxon covered it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, you get it. I still got to stop you, but I get it. Now, if you would have listened to me when I told you it was going to blow up Harlem, and you're like, oh, okay, we won't stop it, then it'd be like, all right, now I'll help you. But you're like, no, I'm going to blow it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to blow up my house.
That's called foreshadowing, because she blew.
I have to blow this up. I'm going to blow you up. It's all right. But it was nice because you kind of, like, yes, you even though you don't make the decision, but it's like, you actually feel bad when she dies. Yeah. You're like, not only was she your best friend.
Why couldn't you be in part 2?
not only was she your best friend, she... it's like what people argue with Thanos. Like, he had the right idea, just went about it the wrong way.
Right.
And that's kind of how Finn was. It's like, I get it. I know why you're doing this. And that's what Miles was saying to her. He's like, look, I get it. Like, they killed your brother. There's other ways to do this. And Finn's just like, no. Like you said, this is all I know. And don't care. I've got all these cool, fancy gadgets, and I can do what I want. Get in my way. I'll slam you on a bar on a rooftop and crack your ribs.
And the homeboy got up.
He's just like, ow.
I broke my back.
But it was really good, of course. And, like I said, I felt as though that was just kind of a glimpse into next gen, and that's what's made me so excited for what's coming next. Like, of course, Horizon's going to be fantastic. Sorry for people who don't have PS5s yet, but with them putting it on PS4, I feel like it's really holding things back, and that's why I'm excited for God of War, which they said they're putting it on PS4 too.
I'm hearing multiple mixed things, like how this is the last one, Horizon Forbidden West in particular, going to be the last one for that free upgrade.
The free upgrade, yes, because originally they were going to do it where you had to pay $10 to upgrade, and that got backlash, and like, okay, fine, we won't do that, but this one's the last one, so God of War, you would have to pay that $10. We'll see how that goes. I don't care.
I don't. I'll have it on both consoles.
Yeah, like, whatever. Cool. Yeah. I'm sure whatever edition I'm buying is going to come with both, so I don't care. It doesn't matter. But as much as I'm looking forward to Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2 is really what I was thinking of when I was bringing up this conversation, was it's only on PS5. Mm-hmm. Miles, of course, was on both. Horizon's going to be on both. God of War's going to be on both. That's cool and that's dandy. I know the PS5 version is going to outshine the PS4 version just because of technology and stuff. But Spider-Man 2 almost feels like, yep, it's 2023, It's almost 3 years after the PS5 came out, but like, all right, what's next gen really about? Because I've gotten tastes of it, and I like it.
I'm at the buffet line.
You've given me the appetizers. I'm ready for that entree. Give it to me.
Can I have more? Put the Jello right there. Thank you. And what you haven't even said is Insomniac's Wolverine.
Oh yes.
Yes. I'm like, you guys, just do what you need to do. Put it out. Give us time, and if they can cultivate this gaming Marvel universe, and either have Miles meet up with Wolverine, or Miles meet up with Weapon X. No, not Weapon X. X-23, the girl version of Wolverine. If they can meet to cause Wolverine and Spider-Man to meet, and just start bringing this. I mean, I'm sorry, Insomniac. I need so much. My expectations are so high. I want so much.
And they'll deliver.
They'll deliver. But it's just like, all right, thank you for this, but I also want some of that.
Thank you for Miles. Thank you for Spider-Man. Thank you for Ratchet.
Right. I need more. I need
a little bit more.
My bank account says, give me more.
Oh goodness, yeah.
But yeah, I would like for Insomniac to deal with the Marvel universe, but then again, I don't want that much pressure put on them. But I want the same love and care to be distributed to the other studios. Like, if people are saying that, okay, Soul Clap, you did a fantastic job with Sifu. Therefore, what stopped you from doing Daredevil? Like, I mean, it's tit for tat. You could easily do that. They could come out with a non-VR Iron Man game. I enjoyed it. It was nice. But, like, you have the ability, because people are yearning for, Iron Man. Because you would think that he wasn't so popular, but his passing, his death and Endgame, you see people are just like, because it was supposed to be Captain America, but it's like, you can't kill Captain America, which would have messed up everything Disney Plus going into Falcon Winter Soldier. You couldn't really have that.
True.
You could try, but it would just not seem like it was passed over to Sam. So, I mean, you have so many IPs. Like, I would love to see another Incredible Hulk game. Because you had that a couple of times. You failed on 2 occasions, but there was a PS2 game. I have a t-shirt of it as well, The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Mm-hmm. And just skateboarding on buses and just beating people down. I'm like, that's my Hulk. That's my dude. So, I mean, I would like the Housemarques. I would like the Santa Monica Studios, your Sucker Punch to give us more, because I mean, I don't know who I would want Sucker Punch to work on, but because they have that Sly Cooper and Ghost in their bag, I mean, they can just pick out a hat any Marvel, or they could do a villain story. Really, yeah, that would be a nice twist on it, and then incorporate that into the Spider-Man. That's what I would like to see. Like, I would like to see a Doctor Doom or a Silver Samurai as well, because that would bleed very much into Ghost of Tsushima as well, and then bring that into the Spider-Man universe, and because that's really what it is, Spider-Man universe.
At this point,
it's just like, this is our universe, the Spideyverse. But yeah, but cool. So I think we're gonna stop this here. I think we've successfully accomplished a lot today just on this one alone. There's a lot that we've talked about, but there's a lot more that's going to be coming out. So,
yes.
Definitely want you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like as well. Let us know what you thought in the comment section. We're going to be doing this quite much, if I may say so myself, because I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, until then, we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace.